Peace, family. This is your boy Gerald. It is Monday, 27th of January, 2020. How is everybody doing? It's early. It's cold. It's cold. Brisk here in Virginia Beach. The sun is out, and I was trying to decide if I was gonna join in the narrative of the news of the loss of Kobe Bryant and his beloved daughter. There are certain synchronicities where in your life you're able to remember exactly where you were when news is conveyed to you, may it be good or bad, but it's always enshrined in your spirit and you'll take that with you no matter what. And, I was at work. I'm trying to multitask. Please bear with me. Um, I was literally at work when the news broke, and it kind of it, it took me off guard for, like, I know many of you, but it also made me feel um, every major significant uh, point in my life where we hear news of tragedy. Like, I can go back and I remember when uh, Tupac Shakur had passed and where I was and what was going on in the environment at the time the news broke. And I remember when Aaliyah passed and where I was when the news broke. And the one thing that with every loss, there's always room for celebration. And even though this is going to have an impact on everybody in their way, there is such opportunity for celebration as well because the the fact that we had the pleasure of witnessing this person's creativity, may it be directly or indirectly. And that's what makes it priceless. That's what makes it really a divine treasure. Peace and blessings, PL. I see you. Good morning. And this is what brings me to now being online to share this. Because I remember the first time I heard this saying that has been enshrined, especially in the minority community. But it takes me back to in my early teens, and like many of you, used to watch Good Times. And the episode when the news broke that James had passed and how they dealt with the loss, not only collectively, but individually, how they dealt with it. And I remember someone saying, this is nothing but an example of why you should give those people that you care about their flowers while they're alive, not when they're gone. And, you know, that sentiment rings so True. Talk about synchronicity. I've got Leah playing in the background. I've got my music channel going on my TV right now. And with that being said, all media that is transponded through this video is for educational use and fair use. I have no copyright entitlement. That goes to those of the producer, the artist, and the label by way of fair use and copyright law. So that's out there, so I don't get no copyright strikes. Um, but yeah, it just validated once again. We allow our we allow our emotions to block our blessings sometimes, and in turn, we put a platform on our fears and insecurities when we should actually give a voice and stand on it. And I think that when we finally come to that place of finding security with ourselves, we can all come together and sit at that table to discuss what makes us different compared to what makes us individual. But until we decide to do that, we'll always be divided. And unfortunately, there'll be always somebody that will unfortunately make a profit off of that by distraction. And it's sad. It's very, very sad that in 2020 we have another example of loss. But I refuse to acknowledge it as loss because I can still say, like many of you, I had the ability to witness this person perform their craft, you know, and and it's kind of sad because no matter how we try to acknowledge, there's still the media that wants to turn around and bring up stuff that has no validity, and that's sad. It's kind of like someone healing a wound, and then after time it's healed, they turn around and go right back into what was injured. That's very, very irresponsible, and that's very, very passive aggressive too, which makes it very, very dangerous. But with that, with that being said, rest in peace to Kobe Bryant, his daughter Gigi. I wish peace and blessings and comfort to his wife and his children and his extended family. Now that I've sent that out amongst, I know millions of people will convey that because he transcended the sport and he left his mark. So we celebrate that. Now, with that being said, that should also validate why this is supposed to be your get it you. And I think that a lot of you have heard me echo this before, and you realize you don't have time to waste anymore. You don't have time. It's about proverbial checks and balance. And I think a lot of you have already rolled up your proverbial sleeves and you're putting the work in and you're actually tapping into your strength. Some of you are actually finding comfort in your actual voice of who you are within. And that is what defines your grace. That's what gives you peace of mind when there's uneasiness. You're not so easily riled up when there is discord because you know the effect that it has or have had on you prior. But guess what? We can't get back 2019. We can't get back 2015. We can't even reach back 6 weeks ago. That are milestones. And those things are the things that got you to this point thus far. And you need to pat yourself on the back because directly or indirectly, guess what? You're afforded the opportunity to survey all that has come before you. Now, you can't ignore free will. You can't ignore that. I mean, look, I understand. I think they said the consensus when it came to spirituality, I think the stats they said 1 in 3 people have a spiritual foundation. And that's okay though, because we could also use that same statistic in regards to how we evolve, how we learn. You may have all the tools to expand your knowledge base, but until you're willing to receive that knowledge base, will it make sense or proverbially click? But I'm going to still convey the message. What's at stake is your legacy. What's demanded is for you to love yourself. Because how is it possible in 2020 there are still people walking around that find that, how can I say this? They're still uncomfortable with revealing their smile. You would think that's not possible, but it's possible. You're looking at somebody for almost 15 years. I had lost my smile. I lost it. Inside me, I would feel, but it felt so foreign. And then, you would have people say, well, why are you so serious? And indirectly, you don't think so, but we don't have the pleasure of looking at ourselves in that angle to see what our body is actually displaying, unless you're in front of a mirror, but just our natural behavioral stance. And I really believe the fact that you still have a lot of people that unfortunately have yet to come to terms of who they are. Because if that wasn't the case, you would have a concise blueprint of where you headed, what you need, how you feel, and what you won't accept. And the real question is why you don't feel that you deserve it. I mean, that's the $1 million question. Why do you not feel you're worthy? Why do you feel you have to accept? No, the devil's a lie. And unfortunately, we have some that already figured that out and they see that and they gravitate towards that because they know that you're at a level that until you figure that perspective out, they're going to benefit from it because they know that, it's like walking around with amnesia until you understand that the faculties that you need to navigate your life, will you be truly empowered? But the one thing that we all can agree is when it comes to your happiness, there's nothing you can't do. That is your power. That is your strength. And for some, proverbially, that may be your spiritual shield too. Because the more you lean on your truth, the more your faith is defined. You ain't got to look over your shoulder because you're walking in grace. You don't have to worry about if you're out of pocket because you're embracing your integrity, your character, your living definition of self. That's why, as it's written in the doctrine, know thyself. Well, until you decide to invest in that journey, how can you understand what the journey is about? That's why you always hear people always say, everything you need is found within you. But for some reason, they think it's more harder than it really is. No, what's required is to listen, to have unconditional love, you must have an unconditional commitment to you. That's something that we can't buy. That's something that cannot be manipulated. You cannot strategize with the best wit available. No, because until you're able to find comfort in that beautiful being looking back as your reflection, will you truly understand the value and worth of that reflection? Who am I talking to? Peace. What's up, Swag? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? I want y'all to win. I want y'all to win. But the road to victory must be committed no matter what. And guess what? All those things needed to motivate, to navigate your life have to be filtered through your heart. You know, I've been talking about manifestation a little bit, even though I spoke about this several years ago, as it was written. God searches your heart. He doesn't base it off of your logic. The heart of men or mankind. That's what he that's the proverbial measurement. How many times have we heard and seen illustrated through uh, various allegories, movie, media, whatever, and you see the same story play out where the good guy, he was a good guy by presentation until you found out the underlying intentions of the action. But then, does it not make sense of why we always hear you reap what you sow? Be careful what you speak on. You just might get it. If that ain't illustration of manifestation, what is? So once again, tell me again find why you don't want to be happy. Because really what I'm describing is truly what freedom is about. To walk through life without fear. I mean, think about that farmer. The moment that he decided that he wants to have a certain crop out there, before he can go and bring out the tractor, before he can go and drop the seeds, the first thing he does is walk that soil because that's the foundation of the intent. And that takes time. And as he's walking, he's seeing the roots, he's seeing the trash. That is proverbially the distractions, the, the things that motivate you to not invest. He sees it. He acknowledges he acknowledges it's there. So he has to make a decision. Do I turn around and invest time to remove these obstructions? Or do I turn around and cast my seed in unholy places? There's some scriptures too. Y'all know where I'm going at. Sure, it will grow, but will it grow upright? Because then what is grown is supported by what? The roots. What is your roots? Your lineage, the foundation of your actions, the reason for it all. I want you guys, I want 2020 to be that banger year. Proverbially, This is the year the phoenix rises from the ashes. This is supposed to be the year that everybody that said you could not, you will prove them wrong through your actions that are pure. Because the more committed you are to yourself, you indirectly change the paradigm and the perspective of them. Well, I never thought he was able to do that. I didn't think he could do it. Well, you never judge a book by its cover, do you? And maybe that is the reason why some people have soul ties, or shall I say, returning lessons. They're constantly running. Because until you're willing to stop, acknowledge, decide, complete, that's the level you'll stay. That's not your story. This is nothing but a chapter. This is nothing but a season. Now, if I'm wrong, thumbs down it. Go ahead, thumbs down it. If I'm missing something, please explain to me, drop some lines, because I don't know why, for some reason, it seems like my words have been misconstrued. And first of all, everything that I convey comes from spirit, and everything that is conveyed comes from a good place. Otherwise, I would just keep it to myself. I don't do it for, financial. What? Really? No. Mm-mm, 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 mm-mm. Each one teach one, fam. That's what it's about. I remember the moment where the very first day I came on YouTube, I felt it in my spirit, and I obeyed. I got on YouTube, and I just wanted my heart to be open to the intended heart, intended mind, and intended time. And for some of y'all may know the very first video I put out was about what? Loving yourself. And I entitled it, When Was the Last Time You Said I Love You? Now, that was a pivotal moment in my life almost 7 years ago. But what's so profound is if you look at that video, if you look at it, that guy is not the same guy that's here now. That guy was broken. That guy just wanted nothing but to feel safe, to be loved, and just wanted to have a good life. And was turning his life over to the Most High. Take me as I am and do what thou willest. And I have not, I can smile now because I knew even back then that what God has in store for my life, I wouldn't even be able to fathom, but it's worth the wait because it's my life. I'm worth the wait, but I had to be true. And through the years, through the hairstyles, I done cut my hair, I done bald fades, temper tapers, even dyed it blonde. And these were things I would never fathom myself on. What? You? Really? Nah, I ain't built like that. But it was on my spirit to do it. Step out of my comfort zone. Because if I can do it, you can receive it. And all that is what I'm trying to tell you is God loves you that much. He loves you so much. But you got to love yourself too. Don't do it for social the social appeal. No, I don't. No, far from it. Because indirectly, indirectly, I realize that everything that I've conveyed that is here. Um, these are nothing but milestones of what was going on at that moment. But guess what? I know 50, 60, 70 years from now, my extended family, guess what? They can look back and say, well, there's great, 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 great granddad. He was thinking about us. You heard it from his mouth. Each one teach one, fam. Now, let's bring this back home. I'm going to always be your cheerleader when it comes to you having your best life. But I also know that we have to put the work in. We have to. Life is not set up to be given, it is meant to be claimed, it is to be defined. And, it's really sad because, you know, unfortunately, because we're mortals, spiritual beings first, because this is temporary, fam. Don't get it twisted. That's why we age. This is why we age. This is only to serve so that we can move around on this earthly realm. But the moment that you took your first breath, the process began because we're not supposed to be here forever. This is going to serve while we're here to fulfill the prophecy of your life. And then when the prophecy is fulfilled, the work is done, you transcend. You transcend. It's funny because I'm what crossed my mind right now was that snippet from the Wonderful Life. When the bell rings, the angel gets his wings. I know that should be the end goal. You know, I hope I do everything right to God's pleasing that one day. So well, you know what? I know you, and you serve me well. Soar. Yeah. But I want y'all to look at this year because y'all gonna notice y'all gonna have months they're gonna feel like a blur for y'all because y'all gonna have so much stuff, so many opportunities gonna just it's like somebody stepping out of a door right into your life, like boom, hey, this is a blessing, is an opportunity. Are you gonna claim me now? And some of it's gonna be stuff that you had put in the and you had put to the side because you said, well, you know what? I would love to do this, but now is the time. Now is not the time. I've got to focus on this right here. But the reason why it keeps coming back because it's meant for you to claim it. It's meant for you to claim it. It's yours. It's yours. That's why we can't worry about doors that have been closed behind us. Mm-mm. Why? Can't worry about people that are not in your life. I tell people all the time when it comes to the human dynamic, the best way to navigate through it is this, as simple as this. Get out of someone else's way so you can claim yours. Maybe you're not meant to follow them all the way through. Maybe you're not. Maybe you were brought into that in their life just to serve the example of whatever lesson they were supposed to learn. And trust when I say this to you, if they didn't learn it, they're gonna learn it once you're gone, because you'll be the reference point of that example. Yeah, you're right. I sure did. But you know what, PL, all that did was that was just a crutch, but it didn't sway my faith. That was just a distraction. And if anything, all that did was make me fortify my foundation in my faith. Just like changing the hairstyle. You can't take it with you. It's just part of your story. Huh, we're human. So I'm excited what this year is going to show. Because also, P, I'll say this too. It also taught me temperance, grace, humility, and I think the biggest one is not to have a judging heart. I mean, this. I mean, a lot of people don't realize it's not easy being human. It's not. And 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 if you don't have the right influence, uh, but even if you don't, God always affords you certain nuances and synchronicities and to like, hey, you sure about that? That's why when a disappointment comes, right before the disappointment comes, there's always precursors of like, you sure you want this? You sure? All right, there you go. And then we sit there for a little bit to process it. But really, what's going on is he's affording us the opportunity to learn from it. That's what your insight is. That's that's how we measure that. But the lesson learned is your wisdom. Just like there are people still to this day that will not say no. Even though you know it's not good for you, you still won't, you're afraid to say no. You do understand, like I used to say this all the time. The word no does not mean forever. The word no really means under review. Do you see the do you see the think about it? Somebody presents you something, it's not of your standard, right? You tell them no. If they really respect your opinion, what are they going to do? They're going to make corrections. They're going to come correct because they value the association that you bring or what you stand for. So I'm excited. I already, like I said, this is going to change again. And I know God's preparing the next view. And I know it's going to, wow, wow. That's all I can say. And I can't wait. I can't wait. Well, I got business to do because the phone is called. But from me to you, I want to wish you a blessed week. Placing forward, stand on it, and constantly be blessed.